on our 100th.
Maybe that'll be our 100th celebration. So we still got another half
I
a
don't
year
think
to
I'm
go
gonna
or
last
something like that.
that. I don't think I'm gonna last that long. So let's just get the shit together.
I don't know, but it is Tuesday. Show Me the Money Club live today, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. We got a great show for you today. First, we are going to bring on our guest. He is the CEO of Mymo, which we're going to be talking about what Mymo is in just a little bit. He is Chris Dorsey. We're going to bring him on in just a few moments. But before we do that, we're going to do our rundown, let you know exactly what's going on. So we are going to be talking about more negative base fare trips, some negative base rates coming on Uber, what's going on with that, especially when it comes to something that Uber support Chet had said. We are going to be talking about take rates for Uber and Lyft. Should you even care about them? Hence today's title. So should you really care about their take rates? Then we're going to go to Lyft cancellation rates are up for the passenger. What about drivers? We're going to be talking about our new segment coming, which kind of ties into Mymo and what Chris is going to be talking about. Not myself, but our guest, Chris. And we're going to be talking about gig work towards financial freedom. So that's going to be a really good segment. And we're going to be doing that, over the next several weeks too. So we're going to be talking about a different thing each and every week. This is kind of the intro into it that we're going to be talking about. The next thing is Uber fining drivers. Ooh, this is something, if you don't know about this yet, you're definitely going to want to watch that. And then we're going to be talking about an Uber driver and their quick thinking, what they helped when it came to a weird situation, what was going on. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about a competition with Uber and Lyft. Could we see something when it comes to InDrive? We'll be talking about that. And we're going to end the show on some funnies. So Sergio, how you doing?
Good, partner, good.
Good.
So that's eighth or ninth, or I don't know. I lost count now. 10 days of 100-degree temperatures. That's why I'm
Ooh, it
gonna
did.
be in that thing back there in about an hour and a half. Of That's about it, bro. Other than
Nice.
it's hot as
Well,
balls.
I literally got the lake across the street. Tomorrow it's going to be 90. So that's our height of the heat because basically we got the lake on the other side. So it's not too hot. Kind of keeps it cooler. So I'm going to take the kids. We're going to go to the beach tomorrow and enjoy during the day, during the hot times. So it'll be nice. So yeah, I mean, the whole country's baking. So if you are able to be in your car and crank that heat or go into a house or wherever, cool, something that's just going to be cooling you down. But be safe out there. Don't be spending too much time out there, especially in like Texas, Phoenix, those areas where it's really hot, 110, 120 degrees. That's just crazy. So, but either way, let's get into Chris. He is the CEO of Mymo, and he is our guest today. So, Chris, welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's great to be here.
Hey, Chris.
Awesome.
How are you, man? Chris is the co-founder and CEO of Mymo. Mymo is going to be our sponsor for the next 8 weeks. I think this is extremely timely. So obviously I had a chat with Chris, but I'm going to have him introduce himself and talk a little bit about Mymo, how it started, what they do, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks a lot. No, I think it's really fortunate timing with the topic you guys are about to talk about for the next few weeks. It's actually completely coincidence, but it's effectively what Mymo is all about. So, started Mymo back in 2022. My wife is an independent worker. She has an Etsy shop. She's a Beachbody coach. She's also a contract ER nurse. And my first kind of experience with gig work and the challenges that you have, like financially, is when we went to buy our house and nobody would give her a mortgage. She has an 800 credit score, and they wouldn't even put her on our mortgage. And I kind of thought, like, that's very odd given, what I know about her, how much money she makes. And so to me, my background is actually in finance. And so I started talking to banks and figuring out kind of why they couldn't lend to gig workers, and realized very quickly it's a much harder life to live, to be an independent worker, to have individual sources of income that are variable, and realized pretty quickly we could actually solve that problem. And so Mymo is actually built exactly for what you described, which is we call it the operating system for finance for independent workers. So what that means is today it's, you track all of your income in one place, both your W-2 income and your gig income. Like lots of people have different mixes. It looks very different to everybody. It's all individualized. And so getting that all in one place so you can actually budget and know how much money you're making, and then set goals for yourself. And what we find is a lot of people think they're making a lot more money than they are, or they're not thinking about taxes, they're not thinking about the wear and tear on the car. And so when you say, I'm budgeting off of $1,200 a week, but I'm only making $1,000, well, then it does feel like the money is always running out. And so we help users track all that in one place, set goals, get easily updated about all those things, and then they can get paid in one place. We have kind of, the standard neobanking capabilities of get paid 2 days early, all those different things with a debit card and all the other rest of it. But what we really wanted to do is start adding things onto that to help you live a better life. So like we do automatic tax estimates. We create a separate account and we'll start withholding your taxes for you. And then as you spend on a debit card, we actually move some of that money back to your checking account when you have deductions, for example. And so to us, it's not about, everyone in Silicon Valley talks about financial literacy, and we think it's not about that. It's about financial doing. And so that's our mission, is to help our users live a better life and make money a lot easier for people who do gig work.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, financial literacy is something that's really lacking in the gig work community. It really is. We do our obviously surveys and we talked about it, quite a bit in the past 6 months about, do you know your costs? What are you doing for it? I mean, a lot of people just think it's just I drive and make money or bring in some cash, pay some bills. Right. But then the money's gone at the end, just like you said, at the end of the month, you're just kind of pinching for pennies and you're just stuck in this, wheel or hamster wheel, right? Yeah. So it seems like Mymo is like, I'm not going to say financial advice, but it's just basically budgeting tool, commingle pretty much all the income sources you have, because you may have a W-2 and then you also have doing some DoorDash or Uber on the side for a few $100 a week. And those are all important things to just bring everything together and, present you with a bigger picture of what you're doing, right?
Yeah, and we see like a lot of our Uber drivers log in every day before they start driving to see how much money they've made that week and then figure out how much they need to drive. And when you have a clearly kind of like, when you look at the data we have, just the first 6 weeks after using Mymo, drivers make on average 8% more just because they're starting to understand their income a little better. And then if they set a goal in Mymo, they actually make 12% more on average, because it's starting to kind of really be honest with myself and say, this is where I want to be. And if I'm falling short, then I'm going to put in a little bit of extra time or drive more intelligently, kind of when I'm going to drive and when I'm making the most money. And so again, that's kind of where we've started today. In the long run is to say, actually, we see a lot of our users setting goals to buy cars. Yeah. How can we help you do that? How can we find partners who can help you do that? Because again, my experience was that it's a lot harder to get access to credit or manage your finances when one platform pays this day, a different platform pays that day, this platform pays 2 weeks, this is weekly, this is daily, it's a much more complicated life. And so we're just trying to make that much simpler as a starting point. And then basically ask our users, what are you trying to achieve by doing gig work? Are you trying to save a little bit of extra money for a car purchase? Are you trying to get a house? What are you trying to do? Yeah. And it's on us to figure out how we can help make that possible.
Yeah. So you said something that's interesting, actually, like a couple of minutes ago. You said users of Mymo, increase their earnings by 8% to 12%. And that's the name of the show, Show Me the Money Club. We're trying to make you more efficient, right? We're trying to make you utilize your hours that you're out there and be more efficient in how you can make money. And trust me, as a veteran driver, I know by being more efficient, I can make 10% more money. And then now I have a tool that I can use that kind of guide me to how to become more efficient. To us, it's like really, really important at these times, because the pay is what it is. Right. These companies control it. And then if I can knock an extra 10% by using a tool that's free to use, I'm all for it. Yeah, a couple of questions that I know they're going to come up, and I know I will get like probably 50 emails at the end of the show. It's like, yeah, but they're collecting our data, privacy issues, right, all these other things, right? Can you talk a little bit about that to our audience, because I know what the differences are, and then after that we'll get into, obviously there's competitors in this space, and we should talk about how you're differentiating yourself from those as well. But let's first talk about the privacy issues that a lot of people are concerned about.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, we're SOC 2 compliant. We've been audited and have kind of security as a core principle for our app. But the other core principle for us is that it's your data. These are your goals. This is very personal. That's when we talk about differentiation for Mymo. It's about taking whatever kind of financial advice is out there, but applying it to your personal situation. Like, it doesn't help to have generic advice about a rainy day fund or how much you should do for this or that. It's actually very bespoke and personal to you. And so, I think if we zoom out and talk about like data and privacy, and I think what people feel like with something like Facebook is they take a bunch of my data and then they make a bunch of money and I don't get anything back in return, right? Like Facebook's a $800 billion company. There's $100 per user value there, and I don't think I'm getting $100 of value out of it. So they're just kind of milking me for my data so that they benefit and I don't. And I think that's really where a lot of anger comes up, and rightfully so. And so what Mymo's not going to do is take your data and then just spam you with a bunch of ads for things you don't need. Like that's the antithesis of what we're here to do. And I think that's why so many people dislike the internet today. What we're here to do is say it's your data. This is your goals for how you want to live your life. And then it's our job to figure out how we can help you achieve those goals. And so that may mean, yes, I want to buy a car. And when it's time to buy a car, no bank will underwrite my income, right? Because it's really hard and they don't understand how to project it forward. And so we may need to have a bank partner ready for you who actually understands gig work and is willing to lend to Uber drivers, because this is actually an asset-based loan that's going to help you make money. That should be much easier to underwrite for a bank, but they don't have the data today. And so you can either go pull 3 years of PDFs from Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and send it to some 23-year-old in New York and have them type them into a spreadsheet, or you can say, hey, Mymo, can you do this for me and help bring me a mortgage, a car loan instead of at 15 at 6.
Yeah.
And then in that world, if we're giving you value, we would take some of that, right? But to the fullest extent possible, we want it to come out of the bank's pocket, not yours. The banks make enough money. They should pay us for that. And we should deliver you value. And when we're doing that, we'll be compensated. But otherwise, we're not just going to turn around and say, here's a bunch of our users' data, and we're going to spam you with a bunch of ads for products you don't need. Like Mint does that. I mean, I don't really like to disparage anybody else, but the goal is to say we should create value for our users. And if so, we should be compensated. If we don't, then we should not be out there slinging your data for money.
Yeah, I mean, that's great, because that's going to be a concern for a lot of viewers and watchers of ours. The other thing is, without naming names, obviously, a lot of gig workers these days do know that there are competitors for Mymo, right?
Yeah.
But then I think it's really important that as the CEO, you from the horse's mouth, you tell us the differences, the main differences, because look, apps are apps. It's just what you make of it. But when there is a different company out there trying to do something different, it's our duty to bring it to you guys. So, talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, look, I think there's incredible companies out there, from Solo to Gridwise and everyone in between. I think where we see a very clear opportunity in white space is kind of helping you live the life you want to live outside of Uber and Lyft. Like, you're going to do the work, you're going to make the money. Then what? Like, how is it actually helping you achieve your goals and helping you live the life you want to live? Like, for me, it's very clear. My wife is customer one for Mymo. Yeah. Like, she was the first person to ever download our app. So this for me is a labor of love. And I think there's dignity in work. And so one of the ways we talk about differentiating ourselves with Mymo is understanding kind of emotionally, this is a harder life. It's harder to be an independent worker, but people do it for the freedom, for the flexibility to be their own boss. Like, we all had horrible bosses. Yeah. I'm my own boss now. And so, like, we actually call gig workers entrepreneurs, because we really truly believe, like, you've chosen to take control of your life and make a change. And so the question is, nobody's helping people do that today. Like, the banks aren't doing it. Your bank is not sitting there going, okay, you're a gig worker. Let me see your income. Let me see if I can help you get access to products that you can't get access to today. And somebody needs to do that. And I think, from like the gig workers I talk to, really inspire me is like the guy from Mongolia who moves here and lives just down the street from me. And he drives for Uber and Lyft and has his own kind of, private car service, and his wife does DoorDash. And the only thing they wanted to do was move to one of the best school districts in California so their kids can get a leg up, in life after they immigrated to the US. So that's inspirational. But who's helping him make that easier? And the answer is nobody today. So he might use Gridwise to do mileage tracking, or Solo to help do income guarantees. And I think that's awesome. And those are fantastic companies. Yeah. The question is, after that, what do you do, right? Because there's a very personal conversation. So I think that's where we kind of pick up where other people leave off.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more, because I think gig workers are probably the most underserved community when it comes to, freelancers or self-employed people, or whatever you want to call it. And the numbers are growing. Obviously, look, these companies are existing on the back of the gig workers, and then now you're just going to give them a hand to get a leg up with their financial freedom, with the true financial freedom. It's not that you turn the app on and go for 8 hours a day, make a couple $100, right? It's about what you do with that couple $100. How do you make it work for you, as opposed to just oh look, I made $200 today. Oh, okay, great. What are you going to do tomorrow, right?
So we see our users asking questions like, "What kind of car can I afford with my income?" Right? And like, oh well, who's going to help you with that in today's world, right? And that's kind of like, we have a really unique opportunity in seeing and understanding how people make money and what their goals and dreams are, and so we can actually help figure that out for our users. I think what really strikes me is when I see gig workers get mortgages and they go, "What'd you do for that?" It's like, well, I converted to an LLC, worked for 2 years, paid myself a salary, then got underwritten by the bank, then I got a mortgage, then I got a house. And then after all of that, I went back to being a 1099 and dissolved the LLC. It's like, that's insane that you have to go through all of that and your income is effectively the same the whole way through. Like, that's a bizarre, incorrect assumption from finance. And I don't think anybody's trying to solve that today. And we are.
Yeah, I agree with you. And to your credit, space could be crowded, but there is a way to differentiate yourself. So give me a little bit about also, I know what Mymo is today. By the way, did you come up with Mymo as far as my money? Is that what happened?
Right.
Is it? Oh, okay. I was kind of getting Mymo is kind of cool, but is it my money? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, it's their money. That's true. So, I know what the app is today. Obviously, give it a run for its money, but what's going to be added to the app, right? I mean, what are the future plans? I know what it is today, and then, but obviously, this platform is going to grow, right? And where is the growth? Where do you see the changes coming in, and what are you going to keep adding to the platform in the future?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think one of the biggest things for us, again, is it's not about financial education or literacy. It's actually about financial doing. So, we've actually we launched an AI tax assistant, and we actually see people asking the tax assistant questions every day about what they can deduct and how they can do this. And then and the question they're asking now is, how does it apply to my personal finances? And so the thing I'm most excited about, everyone's, really excited about AI, but the question again is, what does it do for me? Right? So you can say, hey, what's the most common recommendation from a financial advisor? It's like to have a rainy day fund. Yeah. Well, great. How big should mine be given my expenses and given my income? And then how can I get there in a year to have a rainy day fund? How much of my income should I set aside? Well, we can actually automate that entire process. Not only can we give you the advice based on all the kind of personal financial advices out there, but we can also tell you specifically to your situation how much 3 months of your income is, and then and then we can open an account for you. And then we can start setting aside 5% of your income so that you get there at the timeline you need to. Or say, if you work an extra 10%, you can get there in 6 months. And so we can actually help go not just from like, hey, here's a bunch of advice, now go do it yourself, but actually, here's some advice, here's how it applies to you specifically, and then helping you along each step of the way. And so that'll be getting access to credit, like credit cards and credit builders. That'll be saving money, like for goals, which we already do today, but actually helping, do a better job of guiding people to the right answer for their specific unique solution.
Yeah, so it's all individualized basis, right? I mean, because everybody's, income is different. Everybody works different hours. Some people work 10 hours a week. Some people work 100 hours a week, right? So it's all going to be different. So it's basically like having your own fingerprint on the Mymo platform, right? You just,
right.
To us there's nothing more important, Chris, than people having a rainy day fund, because I really don't think they understand it. I really don't. And I think this partnership is going to go a long way.
Well, if you can't drive for a couple of weeks or anything like that, like, how do you protect your family? Like, because again, everybody wants to build a better life for their family. I think anywhere you go in the world, it's the truth, right? I want to build a better life for my family.
Yeah.
And if you can't drive because you get sick or you get injured, like, what do you have that you're sitting on? So that's like, everybody would tell you that's first, like, make more than you spend, have a rainy day fund, get out of debt. But there's like a step process to get there. But for every person, it's a little unique what that looks like. And so I think, the platforms obviously want you to drive more, and they want to gamify that and figure out how to make you drive more. And we start from the question of, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? And then how can we help you do that? And that's kind of.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, my partner, Chris, highlighted a question, which is important. Actually, Daniel from your company was in there, answered one of the highlighted questions. What are the fees charged for the service? So, so thank you, Daniel. So as Daniel said, Mymo is tagged in or attached to Uber, Uber Eats, Lyft, DoorDash, Amazon Flex, Instacart, Roadie, pretty much all of the gig apps out there that are worth their soul, right?
Yep.
So how about this question? What are the fees charged for the services?
Yeah, so there are no fees for using Mymo. We think about it again, when we create value, we will get paid for it. And to the greatest extent possible, we want it to come from somebody else's pocket, like not yours. I think gig workers get nickel and dimed, whether it's the daily pay fees or the instant pay fees or, everything. There's so many, even for my wife and the platform she uses, there's always monthly fees and nickel and diming. And so the question is, people get this wrong. The banks want to lend. The banks have to lend to be in business. That's their entire business model.
Absolutely.
And so they should pay us for helping you get a mortgage. Like that's how that should actually work, because that's their whole business model. And so, to the greatest extent possible, we want that to be the case. There's some products we have on the roadmap that there's kind of nobody doing it today. And so we have kind of a roadmap for a pro feature set that would be like, free daily pay every time we can get it, right? But we'd have to charge a monthly fee for it. So there is some items on the roadmap that we may charge directly for. But again, we want to get paid when we help you do something in your life financially. And that's kind of generally going to come out of somebody else's pocket.
Yeah. I've hit on all the questions I had in my mind. I think we're going to have a great time over the next 8 weeks, talking about Mymo. I mean, I think this is super, super important. And as you said, coincidentally, we're going to start our, what does your future look like series now. I mean, to us, there's nothing more important than the future, right? I mean, you're putting the hard work in, might as well get something out of it. If it's knowledge, it's knowledge. If it's budgeting, it's budgeting. If it's, rainy day fun, whatever it is, but we're going to start talking about these things. And I think, you plug all the holes that we probably will have, but anything in parting? Do you have any last words for our audience and future audience?
No, I mean, I think the critical thing for us is we're advocates for the gig economy, for gig workers. We truly call them entrepreneurs internally. That's our word for our users, because we think there's a lot of dignity in work and for people going out there and trying to build the life that they want to live kind of on their own terms. And that's not easy. And again, I think our goal is to be the person you turn to for help when you want to do those things.
Yeah, that's where we're aligned as well. Because last week I was wearing a shirt, t-shirt called Gigpreneur, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, hey, but I mean, we're advocates here all the way to the end, right? And you guys are too. And I think we'll have a great partnership here. So thank you for showing up. Much appreciated. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch. I will forward a lot of the questions to Daniel or to you. I'm sure you guys will answer it. But again, thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
All right. Have a good one, Chris. Thanks.
Have a good one.
All right. So that is Mymo. If you are looking to download the app, you can use the link in the description. It is going to be there for you. And as you said, it is free. So you can use that service and start to actually see what your financial picture truly looks like. Yeah. Take the time to be able to do that, because that's one of the biggest things that we talk about. We always say like, oh, you made $1,200 this week. Well, what did you really make? And that's going to be what you got to take in order to, look at all of your different things. So, what is the maintenance? What is the depreciation? What is the taxes? What is everything else that's associated? And then after all of that, how much did you really make? And then on top of that, things like bills and, whatever, extra thing that you want to do or add or put away, anything like that, you just want to make sure you know exactly what it is. So, that's a great little service there. And again, free app download in the description.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, let's move on. Before you talk about gig with it, we are going to do a little giveaway. That is, I believe, from Sergio. From Sergio, right?
Yes, sir. Money. No?
Well, no. You said you wanted to do a...
Yeah, we're gonna. Oh, is that we're giving out the shirt? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do a shirt now.
Okay, so whatever I'm wearing today is dropped in the on the website. It's basically Gig With It, the company name, but with all the gig companies out there, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, whatever you guys do, I think it's a pretty cool shirt, and we're gonna give one for free. All you have to do is win it now. Put in, what are we putting in? Giggin.
Hashtag Giggin.
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 Oh, that's
Giggin.
easy. Hashtag Giggin, and then we're going to do the drawing after the segment, and then you guys will send me your address and your shirt
All right.
size, and you'll get it. That's it.
Well, yeah. This is where you can mention Gig With It and what they're doing there. So that is our little segment. So everybody has to put in hashtag Giggin right now because we are going to be doing the drawing for the shirt in just 2 minutes after Sergio's done talking about Gig With It, what it is, some of the things that they're doing, especially these the fund that they're doing when it comes to each purchase, where that money can go, and a couple other things. So floor's yours for 2 minutes.
Yeah, so Gig With It is a company. Everything is produced, by the way, in the US. Super high-end materials. You can wash it a million times. It's not going to shrink and get shriveled. Everything is handmade, literally. The link is in the show notes. You use Sergio for a 15% off on top of the launch sale that's going on now. That's it. I mean, I think, and most importantly, giving back to the community, the company and myself, we're going to match $1 from each sale, individual sale, not 10%, 5%, whatever it is, $1 each. If we sell 100 shirts, it's $100. $100 is going to go to the fund or GoFundMe page, or we're going to decide who to go to, because we're hearing these things every day pretty much, that this driver got shot, this driver got killed, and we're going to give back to the community by donating that, and it's all going to be transparent, and we're going to put it out publicly, who we helped, how much we helped for. So that's it. The link is in the show notes. Please go check it out. Sergio for 15% extra off on the items that you purchase at checkout. So that's it.
All right. And we are going to give away a shirt right now.
All right, let's do it.
So let's see who is our winner. Salim
Rabadi. All right.
Congratulations. You are the winner. So if you'd like,
email me your physical address, where to ship it to, and your shirt size, t-shirt size, and we'll ship it to you. So that's it. But you have to email me, because I don't know if your YouTube name is the same as your email. You have to email me, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. Okay? There you go.
All right. Now, let's move on to our first real segment besides Mymo and Gig With It. Let's talk about the negative base rates that is going on that we highlighted last week. And, where there's smoke, there's fire. And, of course, we're getting more emails on that. So here are just a few.
Yeah. Okay. So, we did this. We're going to go through it quickly because we did this already yesterday. But this is how important the community is. Okay? A lot of people say, oh, there's just one. What's the big deal? It happens. It's a glitch, this and that, Chris, right? I swear to you and to God that by the time I finished the show last week, I went back to my email. There were 6 of these. Okay? Now, out of the 6, 3 were exactly identical to what we had shown an hour before on the show. There was a $40 sticky surge. Not only Uber did not give the $40 takeaway, and then it became a negative base rate trip. This is the power of the community that we're trying to instill in each one of you. Because if we don't do that, right, and say, hello, something is wrong with this picture, okay? We're not nitpicking here. We're just trying to raise awareness of what's going on. And obviously, people are watching and saying, oh, wait a minute, that happened to me. Well, let me send them some screenshots. And here they are. There's 2 trips, exactly like what we showed, Chris. $40 sticky surge, both in California. And look at the screenshots. It says right there, base is -5. On the other one, base -5. Okay, so that means this is happening more than once or twice. As big as we are, our reach is not obviously millions of people. So just in our little community, or 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 people that watch it on replays or live, a few hundred people, right? That means this exists. This is the last one, by the way, that we showed on the program last week was from Massachusetts. This is from California. So if this is happening, and by the way, this is the exact same number, Chris, $40 sticky surge. Booking comes in at 35 and -5 base pay, right? So that means this is happening. So that means we need to, you guys need to put this on your own social media channels, Reddit, uberpeople.net, wherever you frequent, right? Because we bring it up because this is something happening and we want to stop it before it becomes a trend. And then it becomes unstoppable. It truly does. So there you go. The power of the community. I got these literally an hour after the show ended last week. So that means it's happening. What else is there? And it shouldn't be. I mean, when there's a $40 sticky surge, it should be $40 sticky. It shouldn't be negative.
Well, it should be $40 plus the base fare, the actual base fare, not some negative arbitrary number. This is the problem with upfront fares, is that it could be anything it wants to be, whatever the algorithm is going to spit it out at. But if you were back to time and distance, you would be paid for your time and distance plus whatever surges on top of that. Yeah.
Well, here they are. And then, last week Chris had asked me correctly. He says, what did support say? Did this guy even call? Because obviously they're taking screenshots. Well, this is all for you, buddy, because I had said it to you, and you said your facial expression was like $1 million. You said, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Just like that. Well, here you are. Go ahead and read it.
This is all right. So, the person had mentioned in chat saying, I had a $40 surge attached to this trip and was only paid $35. So I'm wondering why I was shortchanged more than $5 for this delivery request when I was promised by Uber surge of 40. And he's right. It's more than $5 at this case, because it's -5 on the base fare, but you should be getting a positive base fare for the time and distance that you're traveling. So yes, it's more than $5, and it could be even more, like $10, $12, maybe even higher, just depending on what it is. So yes, he is 100% right when that is said. So this is Uber Support's response. Hi, I'm Anna Pura, or Perna, whatever, don't care, from Uber support team, and I'll be taking care of you today, or AI bot. We'll just call her AI bot. We're really sorry to hear about your experience. We know that it can be challenging when you've made an effort to deliver and that you didn't receive your expected fare or your well-deserved fare, particularly the surge amount. I'll do my best to address this. Ronald, I know this is not the news you wanted to receive, but after verifying the details, it seems that this trip isn't eligible for more earnings. This is because for this trip, dynamic pricing was not applicable. So then why would you put it on there saying that you're getting all that surge? This makes no sense. This is absolute bullshit. For delivery trips, dynamic pricing is applicable if ride-sharing trips are surging in the same area and time as, hold on. Where is it? Where'd it go? For delivery trips. Where'd the other screenshot go, Serge?
On the right, buddy. Okay, well, it's the same thing, okay? On the right,
here it is.
You have the
dynamic pricing is applicable if ride-sharing trips are surging in the same area and time as the delivery trip pickup and changes in real time. Although we cannot perfectly predict when and where a surge will occur, we will do our best to share what we know and when we know through the app. Please know that there are still a lot of chances that you'll receive surge offers soon as Uber is growing rapidly in your city. Really? We also offer weekly promotions that will help you. Look, this is all extra bullshit. They're just trying to spin it by saying, we're not paying you the full fare because of some stupid ass reason. And it makes no sense, because the whole thing when it comes to surge is you get your base fare plus whatever the amount surge is. And if you have a sticky surge, it's $40 plus your base fare. Not we're going to reduce whatever it is because we don't feel like paying. That's absolute bullshit on top of bullshit.
Had you heard of this before? Because I told you this last week, and I remember this because I was sent, but we didn't have time to put it up last week. Have you heard of this? Heard of this excuse before? I had never heard of this. I've heard all the excuses, but not this one.
No, I've never heard that one.
Yeah, this is a new one.
That one I've never heard. Oh, we're not going to pay you because the surge has to be surging. That's not the point of sticky surge. The point of sticky surge is you get a plus 40 or plus whatever it is on your app for the next trip that comes in.
So yeah, I mean
This
that's
is
it.
this
So
is the exact this is here's the problem. Sir, you know how the surge virus was going around where you can't see
yeah,
what the surge is? Well,
yeah,
the problem is some coder A said, "Oh, let's hide what the surge is so then you don't know what you're making."
yeah,
Coder B said, "Oh, that's a great idea because if you have a high surge coming up,
yeah,
well, you know what? We'll just we'll do a negative base fare." The problem was Coder A said we're going to roll it out to different parts. We're going to start in Central Florida and Western Florida, and then it's going to just spread like wildfire to different areas. And then Coder B said, "Oh, we're going to just flat out do it to everybody." So this is what you're seeing. You're seeing the overlaps of everything
yeah,
where they're going to get rid of what the surge price shows. So you and I and everybody else in chat and everybody else driving won't know exactly what the surge addition is because they're going to all roll it up into one little fare. And now they have to come up with some BS excuse because you're supposed to be getting $40 extra, but in fact, you're really only getting 35 with a negative base fare.
yeah. And the correlation between deliveries and rideshare, I'm not sure what that even means. Because clearly on the bottom it says $40 on your next trip. It doesn't say, by the way, $40 on your next rideshare trip. It doesn't say $40 on your next delivery trip. It just says $40, and there it is. $40 surge. You guy got paid 35. Again, this is not nitpicking. This is happening. Meaning, if it happened in Massachusetts, and okay, now it's happening in California. I'm pretty sure this is happening everywhere, right? And the fact that the identical thing showed up and drivers are watching and they're getting informed and they're getting, you know what, I got to be on my toes now because I saw this on Show Me the Money. Oh shit, I remember this happened to me last week. Well, there you go. So keep your eyes open. I'm telling you, people, I'm telling you, you guys got to take screenshots now of everything, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, you know what? I know it's a pain in the ass. I know it, but figure out the easiest way, safest way. Please take screenshots of the incoming ping, getting paid later, because this shit's happening. I'm telling you, they're shaving it. They're shaving it with reckless abandon. They're going like, okay, they're gone wild now. Algo gone wild. We shave here, we shave there. You know, we stick it to them five here. Now we used to talk about nickels and dimesters. Now we're talking fives and tens, dollars. You know, I'm like,
Yep.
wow, how blatant can you be, right? So there
Yeah,
you go.
like
So
I said last week, I want to be a fly on the wall that's in these meetings to say, oh, how can we screw drivers even more? Now, Norm, this little comment right here, we're gonna address this and why, you know, you can look at it that way if you want to, but the reality of it is, if you're screwing with my money, that's where I'm going to get pissed off at, and
Jeff,
they're
on this
screwing
one?
with people's money here. So it doesn't matter how it looks on the gravy end of things. It's still that particular driver and other drivers that are seeing these negative base fares are actually should be getting paid more. So they shouldn't be making 35. They should be making 40 plus. So they should be making, you know, let's say it's $6. They should be making $46, not 35. So again, it's going backwards instead of forwards. And, you know, these surge zones, these extra bonuses on top of it, especially when when fares have become lower and lower, and now we don't even really get compensated for some of the time or distance that we may travel because of upfront fares. And they're saying, well, you know, it's what it's quoted at, and, you know, these estimates are off. So yeah, this is where they're starting to screw again with time, money, distance, and pay. So that's where I have the issue. That's where Sergio, I'm sure, has the issue
Yeah,
as well too.
I agree with Jeff on this 100%. So Jeff, as you know, I love you, man, but you know, you're my man. But on this one, we have to agree to disagree. This is not about complaining. This is not about bitching and moaning. This is not about victim society here, which we don't do, as you know. But what the problem is that there has to be at some point, right, some line drawn somewhere, okay? And the line that we need to draw is, if you can do this, what's next? What's going to be the next shoe to drop? As I said 4 times already, last week and this week, great trip. I would have personally done it for 35. Didn't say anything more than that. However, as an independent contractor, a contract is created. And if you don't honor that contract to me, then don't call me an independent contractor. Because if I'm a plumber, come to your house, we have a contract, written or verbal, in this case, whatever the app presents you, and you shortchange me, what is the independent contractor plumber going to do? They're going to go put a lien on your house because you didn't pay them, because you shortchanged them. And we just don't want to blow this out of proportion. But I think it has come to the point that, you know, I there has to be some kind of legal recourse that we can do here. We have to, because as much as I don't like legislation, I think this is the time, because these things are just going to get worse. And the last thing, Jeff, I want to look out for my kids, because my kids are going to experience this. Even if they go work at McDonald's, one worker is going to get 14 because of some algorithmic wage discrimination bullshit, and the other guy is going to get 17 for doing the same work. We don't want these things. We don't want this to enter the society that we live in. Society already has many problems, as you know, Jeff. So to me, on this one, we have to agree to disagree. So.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, then he followed up with it's $250,000 a year delivering food. Yeah, but how often are you going to get a $40 surge at $35 with that? It's going to be like a one-off couple of times, maybe a year. So let's look at the reality of things when it comes down to it. I'd love to say you could get $250,000 by doing that. I would love to take $35 deliveries all the time. I wouldn't have a problem delivering food then at that point. But like the reality of this situation is that does not happen.
Yeah, that's Uber math, Jeff. You know that, right? You can't take 35 and extrapolate to 250K. We know that. And perfect is never achievable. We're not after perfect, Jeff. We're after just. That's it. Yep. Perfect, we know, is never achievable, but we're just after just and justice. I mean, this cannot go on. And that's it. So let's move on.
All right. Yes, let's move on. Let's talk about the next topic, and that is take rates. Uber and Lyft take rates. Should we even care about it? I mean, we always talk about, you know, different things like, oh, Uber took 20%, Uber took 60%, Uber took 100%, you know, or, well, you know what I mean? Like, I know it wouldn't add up that way, but, you know, the majority of it, you got paid half, they got paid half. I mean, it's 50, but you know what I mean?
So, I mean, to me, these are important things to talk about, but at some point, drivers have to get off this, because these companies, as convoluted and complicated as these earnings statements are, and as well, you know, the trip receipts and things like that. Okay, you know, when I say this, I'm sure I'm going to get bombarded with hate mail, but I think what drivers should pay more attention to on an individual basis, trip basis, is this a profitable situation for me? You know, again, I'm going to bring Jeff in here because he taught me this. He goes, circle of influence, circle of control. Can anybody control Uber's take rate other than Uber? No. Now, there are some things we can do. We can do cherry picking. We can do high search trips, make Uber lose money. I get it. I understand it, right? And here's an example, okay? This driver for 27 miles and 50 minutes of work got paid $75.25. Great trip, right? And this is in California, in my backyard, in LA. And he picked them up in Inglewood. It looks like definitely was after an event. I'm betting it's SoFi or the Forum in Inglewood. And there was a boost. There was an $11 surge. The fare was $61.95. You know, added all that to $75.25. Great trip. Great trip. Now, on the right side, he took a screenshot. He didn't send it to me from the website, but sent it from the app. And it's a little fuzzy, but you guys will see it. Uber service fee summary. Customer price, $160.99. Okay? All right. Well, this is the part that's going to be the next talking point. Okay? Chris, because these commercial insurance rates that they present, I'm telling you, people, this is a fact. I know this because I got this from very reliable source. I'm not gonna say who, but you know, without bringing up her name, at $160.79 went to California driver benefits for this trip. Commercial insurance and payments were $20 for this 27-mile, 50-minute trip. Now, there used to be a limit on this, Chris, from 0 to 10. Now that 10 barrier is broken in LA, because after this, I got 20 more screenshots that the 0 to 10 is broken now. It's now we're wild. Well, I can say this probably. We spoke to Uber, right? Uber swore that everything that's seen on there in the commercial insurance line item that says 20, not a penny of that is going to Uber. Everything is going to the commercial insurance company. However, they did not answer the question what part of that is marketplace fee. And they said, nope, everything is gone there. Commercial rates have gone through the roof over the last 3 years. And there's nothing that we're hiding. And when asked, are you messing with this commercial insurance rate number, variable number, to make it look like you're not taking as much from the driver as a service fee? They said, no. Now, it's up to you guys. Do you believe it? You don't believe it? It's your call. But $20 is on this trip. Regulatory city fee is $10 always in LA. Took the earnings out. Even with the $20, right? Uber's service fee was $64.85. Now, this clearly indicates to me that passenger paid $160.99, driver made $75. If you look at the take rate that way, right, it's actually 60-40 kind of a split, 60-40, 60% for Uber before the commercial insurance fee. After that, still, if you take that out, driver made 75-25, and Uber take rate on this trip was close to 40%, right? Should you care about this at all on this trip or any trip that you do? I'm going to start suggesting, because they're playing so many games now with these numbers, with these receipts, to make it look like their take rate is very low. And that comes definitely with the commercial insurance line item there that you guys see, because on each trip it's going to be very different. And I'm going to say that in order for us to exist and not go crazy, I think you guys need to pay as little attention as possible what Uber is taking, because it's not in your circle of control. This is an amazingly profitable trip for this driver. I would have done this with my eyes closed. And this also proves, Chris, that on the back end, the customer is getting charged with a multiplier, without a question they are. And and they got ripped, but they happily paid. And driver came out way ahead, and it's great trip. And customer was happy paying it, and we move on. So my advice to all of you now and later is going to be, don't get stuck on Uber's profitability. I'm not saying you're not to look at it. You're naturally, as a human, you're going to look at it and get pissed off. But they are playing so many games to make that number look lower to you with the service fee. That was the point of getting pissed off and upset. What I'm saying is, you pay attention to your own profitability as much as what Uber is taking. Now, some of you may take this the wrong way, but I think that's the way to go forward and keep your sanity. So if you want to keep looking at it and get more pissed off, well, you're more than welcome to look at each trip, or once a week, go to your summary, look at all those fees that they're tacking on to make the take rate look low. Then you're not going to believe that anyway. So what's the point of even looking at it? So to me, I think this conversation has to be held within the driver community of, do we really care about Uber's take rate? Because it's not real anyway. It's convoluted. Now, to me, Chris, the most important thing would be, see that where it says $20 commercial insurance payment, credit card fees, all that is in there, right?
Yep.
How about a breakdown of that 20, or whatever that line item is, breakdown of that? What part of that is marketplace fee? Because due to that number, the take rate of Uber's is going to be drastically different. If that wasn't 20, that was 5, Uber's take rate would be $80 on this trip, and their service fee hold would have been $80. So how about a breakdown? And we suggested that to Uber, by the way. Be transparent. We don't mind you just commingling all this bullshit in there, because these commercial rates, it cannot be that I'm paying $20 for a 27-mile, 50-minute trip, bro. It's outrageous, right? So break it down. Show the drivers what they want to see, the true take rate, right? But at this point, they're not going to do it. So my advice as a veteran driver, and to you all, is please stop looking at this. Please stop getting pissed off, because I hear it all the time. Oh, Uber took 70, Uber took 80. Great. That's what they have to do to run their business to a point. But by looking at it and not being in control is making things get more out of control, right? And we're working on it. We're trying to make them be more transparent and show the total breakdown of the commercial insurance part, the line item. And if they come with it, they're going to come with it. And we're working on it. Trust me. We talked to these people last Thursday, and they swore saying that no, all of that commercial insurance is going to the insurance company. I'm not buying it. I said, I'm not buying it. Look at these screenshots. I'm not buying it. And they go, well, you don't have to buy it. Well, there you go. That's it.
Yeah. Well, one of the things too, when it comes down to it, is I think if you are paying attention to your costs and you are only accepting rides that are going to be profitable for you and make you money, I think that's what it's going to come down to. And, you know, it's just going to help you with your sanity instead of having to look at that and say, oh, well, they made all this money off my back and stuff. Yeah, it's going to piss anybody off seeing something like that. But if you watch the news all the time, you know, you're just going to have a bleak outlook on life. And, you know, sometimes you got to turn the TV off, turn the news off, and just kind of like go out and enjoy what's around. And, you know, you're in a much better mood. I think something like that, if you focus on what you're doing to make yourself profitable, I think the rest of it can kind of go in the back burner, and you don't really have to worry about it. It's just a little bit less stress that you have to worry about. It's a little bit less anger that you have to subject yourself to. And, you know, it could potentially make rideshare a little bit more fun, or food delivery, or whatever it is. So that's my opinion as well, too, when it comes down to paying attention to, you know, the take rate. You could look at it every single ride and be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. This one's 56%. This one's 72%. This one's 4%. Oh, they lost money on this one. But, you know, some of the things that I see in the comments, I think we should have the ability to have commercial insurance. And then I think we should have the ability to opt in or opt out of Uber and Lyft's commercial insurance, and then have the ability to keep that money, in essence. If they want to charge that particular fee to the driver, or I mean, to the passenger, that should go to the driver who's carrying the commercial insurance. The other side of the coin is, if you have your own commercial insurance, overall, it's actually going to be cheaper, because if Uber and Lyft and these other companies are truly paying the commercial insurance and continuing to get dropped from different areas or different companies, you know, because there's so many accidents, all this stuff, rates are rising, a lot of these things are happening, then it's going to help it become lower overall, because you're carrying your own commercial insurance, and then they can just recoup that in whatever the driver, or I'm sorry, whatever the passenger's paying. And, you know, then it becomes even better. So that $20, well, that goes back in your pocket then, because that's what you have for your commercial insurance.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a really important subject. We're going to keep talking about this because we are in touch with this company. And, you know, at some point, I mean, I have to look, you know, you get, my main concern is for you guys all out there, us drivers, be profitable. We will probably have to run through that one more time, you know, your profitability matrix, and on future shows, and discuss those things. But other than pissing you off and cussing Uber out or Lyft out, what is this accomplishing, right? After each trip, you look at it. And I am, you know, I don't believe this company for a single second of what they're saying, that all of that line item is going to the insurance company. I'm not buying that at all. Okay. I know marketplace fee is in there, because I'm a passenger. When I price a trip for myself going somewhere, the marketplace fee fluctuates between $3 and $10 so wildly for the same trip that's in there. I know it's in there, but they're not saying it. I go, okay, then I go, break it down. Why don't you break commercial insurance line item down? There is not much on that receipt for you not to break it down. Mm-hmm. And they said, no, it's going to the insurance company. There's nothing to break down. And I'm not buying that. I am not. And to me, look, we're going to keep working on it, but that's why I'm not saying give up on it. Look, at least, how about this? You know, this is like trading stocks. You're going to look at your whole board of stocks. There'll be one red in the upper right-hand corner, and your eye will constantly be going there, taking all your positive energy from all you could have 50 stocks there. One would be red, 49 would be green, but red will take precedence for you. No, you have 49 that are doing well, right? Yeah. This is the same thing.
Well, you know, Jeff's got another comment, and this one I'm going to agree with. I said, so Uber charged 160 and driver got 75. Seems like an easy conversion to a private client, but no easier to cry about it. And yeah, I agree. It's easier to talk about it and say, oh, they took so much out of that. But the smart people can say, hey, you're getting charged 160 from Uber. I could do this for $100 or something like that as a private client, which you could potentially do. That's another option as well too. Just make sure you have the correct insurances for that, which is your commercial insurance. So just make sure you are covered that way. And if you need any other additional, anything when it comes to your particular area, to be able to give personal rides or private rides, make sure you do follow that, please, because if you don't, you could really get screwed. So just make sure you know all of the laws that pertain to private rides when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to agree with that. And then going back to what you said, it reminds me of this one story. There was a teacher who wrote, 10 lines and said 1 + 9, or I think it was like 1 × 9, 2 × 9, 3 × 9, and went all the way down. And then the last one was like 9 × 9. Instead of putting 81, they put like 9 or something. So it was 9 were right and 1 was wrong. And the class was like laughing because the teacher made a mistake. It's like, well, you're laughing at 1 mistake, but 9 were right. So it's kind of the same exact thing what you were mentioning, just in different context.
It takes so much energy to just get yourself sucked into this vortex of Uber take rate. I mean, look, you cannot control it. They're gonna try to be profitable. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. So Renee Wolf, Sergio at therideshareguy.com. My email. We can discuss it off the why you don't agree with me. So this is a sample statement. Okay. This is all of us gets this every Monday, and you get the email saying, here's your weekly statement, take a look at it. Okay, I'll just look at it. And I'm like, okay. So Uber on this week, according to Uber, again, right, they lost $297.45, okay, because of whatever reason you guys want to put there, okay? And to me, yes, if they are definitely effing around with the commercial insurance line item, they're definitely squeezing marketplace fee in there. I cannot prove it. If I prove it, then I can take them to God knows where, right? So on the right hand side is the Lyft screenshot. Great week for that driver. And Lyft is also coming up with this ridiculous. Look at this. I mean,
yeah,
they do it so ridiculous that it just the drivers have no choice but get pissed off, man. Okay. Look at this. Okay. Driver earnings were 1270, tip was good, 204, adjustments, probably bonus or other streaks or whatever. Passenger payments, 1743. Driver earnings. Look at the third party insurance and expenses where it says $1,208.89. Taxes and fees.
That's just for 33 rides.
Yeah. Lyft lost $864 on this. So is this really correct? We're going to find out. And I'm just kind of going that the more you look at this, the more you shake your head and you don't want to drive and you don't want to get out there and be profitable. I'm like, I'm not buying it. If anybody's buying this, great. I don't think Lyft spent $1,206. So what they're doing is they're running double books. One book is for you guys, for the drivers, and one book is for Wall Street. I bet you the book that they're running for Wall Street looks quite different than this. I don't think on this driver, Lyft lost $864. What do you think, Chris?
I don't think so, but
I mean, yeah.
Huh?
You have to believe.
I mean, I think what they might be doing is the and expenses part is where they can mess around with some numbers. So it's like, okay, well, Lyft Inc. Corp A is getting this expense, and then Lyft itself is like incurring the loss or something. So it's really just going one hand feeding the other. That's the only thing I think of. I mean, for 33 rides, they have $1,200 in insurance and expenses. It doesn't even seem right.
Yeah. So that's it. So send me the emails. Let it rip, people.
Speaking of an email.
Yeah. So this was an email sent out to me, and then this is all commingled into the subject, right? Check your weekly statements carefully. This is from a viewer. He goes, Hi, Sergio. Here's one for you. I received a statement attached, and I noticed that I have a deduction called post-trip adjustments. I read this is supposed to be in the four asterisk section. By the way, is the section with commercial insurance rates. Okay. And I contacted Uber support for an explanation. The first person I spoke to took 4 times for her partially to be able to understand what I was asking, of course. And then when her answer was nowhere near the answer I should have received, I asked that incident be escalated. Okay. I simply wanted to know where or on why $17 was being deducted from my account based upon post-ride cleanup and other possible incidents that a rider reported. I'm like, yeah, I probably you got some cleanup fee, somebody puked in your car, and then they're taking the money away. How? With what evidence? Whatever. I don't know. So my car is a 2022 Honda and it's spotless. I get several comments a day. I certainly did not drive 30 miles out of someone's way that would incite a $17 fee deduction. The supervisor just reached out, me repeating that on the statement and did not leave any other details. No one at Uber support could give me, of course not, because they're not gonna. You're just a little pebble in the ocean, if you are, even that. See attached, love the show on YouTube. Okay, so here's the statement, right? I am urging everybody, please. You want to talk take rates? You want to look at it? Don't look at it? No problem. Okay. Do as you choose. But at least once a week, look at your statement because these things are there hidden. And this is your money. And we're going to talk about this in a minute. Your money. You need to be in charge of your money. And if there's a $17 deduction, it's going to have to show on your statement. Please, once a week on Mondays, go and look at it. And here it is, Uber's, where it says Uber service fee, weekly Uber service fees right there, clearly. On the last one that we showed, it was negative. On this one, it's positive. Okay, great. My point is, please, this is your money. Be in charge of your money. Look at it. Look at your weekly statements. Don't look at individual trips. There's individual trips. Oh, 50% on this, 40% on this, 80% on this, 20% on this. Uber lost money on this. Is going to drive you nuts. But look at this. This definitely you should look at every Monday. As soon as you get the email, click, look at your weekly statements. If there's any discrepancies, that's the only way you're going to catch it. So this is efficiency for you. You got to be in charge of your own money. So that's it.
Oh, yeah. All right. So wrapping that up, let's go to our next one, talking about Lyft cancellation rates, what's going on there. So that's an interesting little thing that you had sent me earlier.
Yeah, Lyft cancellation rates on the left screenshot. Lyft has raised the cancellation rate for the passenger to $6.50 now. Okay, don't get pissed off at me. And nothing to do with it. So if you, as a passenger, if you cancel after 2 minutes, Lyft will ding you for $6.50. Okay. Now I've gotten so many emails this week saying that they're not paying cancellation fees, and we did a popular video last week about the shared trips. Chris, you don't know how many emails I got right after the show. Oh, I have 20 of these. I have 5 of these. I have 10 of these. All we did is just talk about it for 10 minutes, and the whole world came at me saying that, oh, I'm glad you talked about it because I see this is all about raising awareness, talk in your community. So Lyft is $6.50 for the passenger. How much is a regular Lyft standard cancellation fee if you get it? Because their GPS is not working most of the time at the pin. $2, right? You wait 5 minutes with Lyft. Okay. Now there's a clock after 2 minutes. They're paying you like a dime, I think, for each minute that you're waiting, wait fee. And after 5 minutes, you have to call with Lyft, unlike Uber. You have to call the passenger and get your cancellation fee, right? $6.50 versus $2. Now, what is Lyft doing to get the $6.50? And what am I doing to get just $2 out of the $6.50? This is one thing that we also have to raise with Lyft people. And this gentleman says, Ganavaram from Lyft comes back to the driver and says, thank you for contacting Lyft support. After reviewing this, I can see that you are not on track to arrive within the estimated arrival time. Huh? Do you get that? I don't get that. Okay.
No.
So because on the Lyft app, you AI bot, until I get there, I cannot click arrive. I can only override it if I want to override it if my GPS is getting stuck or something, and it gives you a whole bunch of excuses why you want to click arrive without the 2 pins, your pin and the passenger pin, being really close. Okay. So how does this even make sense as an excuse for a cancellation for $2? These should be all automatic. If I'm canceling, man, you should send me my $2 because you just collected $6.50. We are only able to charge the rider a cancellation fee if you're on track to arrive. Well, we talked about that last week, and we did a great popular video with Joe, our guy in Chicago, how they're shaving time. Well, with this gamification now, we may never get a cancellation fee again, Chris. Seriously. I mean, because I'm not on track with your arrival ETA to arrive there to get a cancellation fee. This is ridiculous now. And then it says, we understand there may be circumstances that make reaching a rider's pickup location difficult. If there are circumstances preventing you from driving towards riders, we recommend logging out of the driver mode until you are able to do so. What does this have anything god dang to do with getting my $2 lousy out of the $6.50? I don't know.
Yep. And you know what I really find amazing here is look at the terminology and the wording that they put in the email about the cancellation receipt. We noticed you canceled a ride recently. To compensate drivers for their time, we charge a cancellation fee when you cancel after your ride has been accepted and your driver has started driving towards your pickup location.
Yeah.
So that makes it seem like all of that money is going to the driver, doesn't that? It doesn't seem like they're collecting anything for themselves. It seems like it's going all.
Yeah. If I was the passenger on this trip and I read that, which I read it because you just dinged me for $6.50 for not showing up, right? I'll go, shit, that driver canceled on me, took my $6.50. Not knowing that only $2 went to $6.50. Literally, I could have driven 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes towards that passenger. On one hand, they're playing the game of, well, you weren't close to cancel. I'm like, well, how is that possible? And on the left side, they're telling the customer, oh, by the way, we have to pay the driver for their efforts to come to you. I'm like, lying to the passenger, lying to the driver.
Yeah.
For $2, bro. You know what this should be?
I like Rick's comment.
You should give me my $2. That's it. And move on.
I like Rick's comment. Lift double speak. It's exactly what it is.
I mean, it's like to the point that you're taking $6.50. Why aren't you happy with $6.50? And here's this driver. But I was going to put that up, and these emails came in, and here they are. The pin is right on top of the guy. Okay. This one is a trip that this gentleman was already on a trip. Okay. He got stacked, right? He got the next trip, right? Before he could even finish the existing trip, the other passenger canceled, but it was more than 2 minutes away. Look at the timing, right? 12:18, 12:22. If it's more than 2 minutes, right, for the passenger is going to get dinged for $6.50. Except that Lyft says the passenger canceled this ride. However, it wasn't eligible for a cancellation fee. There goes another $6.50 in their pocket, nothing in my pocket. Okay. It says rides like this one don't affect your acceptance rate. I don't even care about my acceptance. I care about my $2 because that's justifiably mine. So this is the other part now that keep charging the passenger $6.50, $6.50, and then they're nickel and diming you to pay the $2. And most cases they're not going to give you $2. And here you go. You were in an active ride when it was canceled, so you were paid for the total time and distance until that ride ended. That has nothing to do with somebody else ordering a ride. You're stacking me with it and not paying for the cancellation fee. That's more now going to their pocket. $6.50, $6.50, $6.50, $6.50. Anyway. So and this other, the other one. There's one more. I think I sent you when it comes to this cancellation subject.
No, that was it.
Was that it? Okay. So when you go to the passenger people, Chris and I talked about this trick, right? You have to call the passenger, right? When the clock is up, all you have to do, just call on, not even that half a ring, quarter of a ring, you hang up, because then the Lyft system picks up as you called, and then comes your cancellation fee. But they're playing this game now.
It's actually basically, you don't even need the ring. Basically, when you hit the button on the app itself, it triggers it saying, okay, you hit the call, so you can hang up right away if you need to.
Yeah, and this should not even be a subject. The drivers are driving. They should not be concerned with this, with $2, because they drove.
No, first of all, again, going back to the comments that they're saying, that double speak, they make it seem like being $6.50. Why would it have to? Why would they be getting anything at that point? Sure, They can get the $2, we get the $4.50. I'll be okay with at least that. Anything lower than that, now we should be getting a problem with, because again, this is where the drivers are wasting their time and money to go pick up somebody who's just going to cancel.
I agree. I mean, I think when you're double dipping, it's a dangerous game to play, and I think they're at the border of being reasonably crooked. I mean, seriously, $6.50 to the passenger. What did you do to get the $6.50? Lyft, literally. What did you do? Nothing. What did I do? I was driving to the passenger to pick him up, and 2 minutes goes by. In 2 minutes, I could have driven at least a mile. I mean, probably, I don't know, 4 minutes, 3 minutes maybe. What happened to that time? So time, obviously, we talked about it. Time is of no essence to any of these apps. So, I should get 75% of the cancellation fee, and you should get 25%, not the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. And that one should definitely be that. And it shouldn't be one of these things. Well, you're not going on that ride, or you're already going on a ride, and so the second ride that's stacked. No, this is all games that they're playing again. So this is where they gotta kind of get past that and stop that, because again, that's where it's not the nickel and diming. Now you're dollaring. So $2 here, $2 there. $6.50 here because you're on a stacked ride or something like that. Another reason why you should be turning off stop new requests when it comes to being on Uber and Lyft, because then it's going to take you technically offline, even though not really, and then just go online when you're ready to be there, because then otherwise you just won't be in this position. So that's definitely another reason to do that there. So all right, so we did have our new sponsor Mymo on with Chris earlier. So if you just came in and missed that, go back, check that out, especially when it comes to the app. But we want to give a special shout out to Mymo, and we want to talk about that real quick. So if you're looking to level up your financial game, let me introduce you to Mymo, your ultimate financial companion. Mymo is the mobile app designed for self-employment workers like you. It brings all your income sources together, effortlessly tracks your earnings across all your gigs. But that's not all. Mymo helps you hit your financial goals by automatically tracking your progress, helping you stay motivated and earn more every step of the way. Mymo users who set the goal Mymo users who set a goal to make the app within the app make 12% more than users who don't, which means you can get to your goal faster. And when it comes to taxes, Mymo has you covered. Get free tax estimates as you earn, so you always know what you owe, and when you save serious money on expensive accountant fees. So you can even get answers to important tax questions for free instantly with the Mymo built-in AI accountant. Click the link in the description for more information and download the app.
Yeah, man, do it. I think it's a fantastic app. I really do. It's very timely. So I just got done saying we shouldn't be concerned about what they're charging the rider. That's on a trip, Joe Driver.
It's on a trip. That's not when it comes to
apples, bro. Come on now, get your shit together. Anyway, so I think this is a subject that needs to be looked into. Honestly, drivers are driving 10-hour shift. At the end of the day, they shouldn't even be dealing with Lyft bots, all these excuses, different excuses. Just pay the guy the $2. $2, man. You can't even buy a pack of gum for $2. And I know cancellations are rare, maybe 10-20% of your day, but it's $2, $4. I want to spend half hour minimum hitting my head to your AI bot. Why? Just give me the $2. You charge $6.50 already. Why be so greedy and keep all the $6.50 for yourself? Come on now. Let's just not even do this.
Well, let's move into our next new segment that we want to bring up, and that is, I think Chris, when he was on earlier, kind of hit it. You do your gig work, then what? So I think that's kind of like the segment that we're going to go into is the then what that we want to talk about. You do your gig work, you learn the practices, you go out there, you make your money, and try putting in new practices, new strategies, try to make some more money, different things like that. But what about after the fact? What about when you're not gigging, or when you're working towards something?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about and going into during this next segment, that we're going to be talking about, every show for the foreseeable future, when it comes to it, just to give you guys a little bit more when it comes to it, besides just gig work or, Uber, Lyft, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So,
So, we're going to start this by giving you the numbers as usual. Look, gig work is not forever. Some of us do it 10 hours a week. Some of us do it 100 hours a week, between multiple apps. The point is, flexibility and freedom does not come without financial freedom. So the only way you can achieve financial freedom is, what are you doing with the gig money that's coming in every Tuesday hitting your account, or if you do cash outs. Okay. So the gig economy boom is over, according to the insider. And as workers go back to traditional jobs, Bank of America says, you know what? I agree. The boom is over. The boom that we experienced during the pandemic, especially for deliveries, last mile delivery, grocery, food, whatever items there are. Yeah. Rideshare is still there, but there's many more drivers on the road than there were before, because
yeah, it's not like when
nobody.
everything reopened and there was the
Yeah,
huge rideshare boom at that point.
exactly. And so, in fact, I interviewed one of our viewers, and it's going to be on the channel under Behind the Wheel series. He quit his gig work. He did gig work for 4 years. He quit, went back to a nice W-2. So I know a lot of the people who do gig work do it for freedom and flexibility. But then what I want to hit on, and I need your help with this, whoever's watching this now or later, however many thousand there are, I need some interaction. I need some ideas from you guys. What should we talk about? Right? I mean, we know what we're going to bring up, but I want to make this totally interactive. Why are you doing gig work? What is your plan B? Do you have a plan B? When you go home, do you do a budget, weekly, daily, you know, goals that you set for yourself? How much of this are you saving for true financial freedom, which is, you got to have money in the bank. So people may not be interested in gig opportunities they were a year ago. Granted, per economist Anna Zhu, B of A, the reversal is partly because of weaker consumer demand for some services. Agreed. DoorDashers are crying. There are a million gig tubers out there saying, "Oh, I'm not making many money, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, yeah, it's supply and demand, my man. There are many of you out there, and you guys thought when the pandemic ended, everything was going to continue. It's not going to continue. But this could also be due to attractive wage growth in traditional jobs per report and Zhu. By the way, solidarity to our UPS brothers who are drivers. A top UPS driver with seniority is getting up to $49 an hour now. And, a lot of people tell me, go get a real job. No, driving is a fucking real job, sir, whoever you people are out there. And, with union solidarity, I know a lot of you are against unions and all that stuff, but without union negotiations, none of this would have happened. And they got themselves a nice raise going forward all the way to 2027. Okay. And they looked out for the part-time brothers of theirs, and they got a raise. So you being stuck in this flexibility and freedom, I'm not buying it. Okay, that doesn't pay the bills. At the end of the month, go tell your landlord, this month I'm going to pay you with my flexibility and freedom. Is that okay for you? I'm like, no, that's not going to work. So my thing is, I want ideas from you guys, what you guys want to talk about yourselves, right? And we'll do the first couple on us. We'll talk about retirement. We'll talk about investing. Again, none of this investment advice, but I'm reasonably knowledgeable about these things. So we're going to start there. But please send me your email, send me your requests. What do you want to talk about? Okay. And we're going to make this part really interactive. We're going to bring you guys on the show starting, next week, and talk about all these things. So gig work may be dead. It could be dead. Okay. And this is another headline that caught my eye. A decline in self-employed gig economy could be pulling more workers into payroll jobs. There is nothing shameful about payroll jobs, period. Okay. And maybe if enough people go back to regular payroll jobs, W-2s, then oversaturation may be over, but we'll see. While also increasing the unemployment rate. Okay. And Friday's jobs report, jobs reports coming out. I mean, look, unemployment is in the whole historically all-time low, 3.6 or 3.9%, which is crazy, right? There are plenty of jobs out there. why do you continue doing gig work, right? We want to talk about all these issues. Why are you stuck in this rut? If you're not making money other than complaining, why do you continue doing this? Don't do it. I'm telling you, we're a rideshare channel. We're telling you guys not to do it. Okay. And if you're making money, if you know your numbers, if you're saving for your future, retirement, all these things, continue. But if you're doing it willy-nilly just to pay a couple of bills and then 6 months later you have nothing to show for it with a broken car and a broken back, don't do it. Go get a W-2. And I think that's the right advice that we can give you guys.
Yep.
So email me,
Well,
Sergio at the rideshare guy.
one other thing besides going over those two articles saying that the gig boom is done and it's pushing more drivers into payroll jobs again for W-2. There is a silver lining there, and that means the oversaturation could be easing up a little bit, which means, you know, supply and demand could be equaling out a little bit better. So for drivers who are out there making money or trying to make money and, you know, been trying to over and over, and, you know, there's too many drivers on the road or oversaturation, or, you know, app A, B, C, and D are slow. This could be a silver lining for you where less drivers are going to be on the road because maybe they're going back to jobs. So it's definitely going to be this good balance that'll hopefully come very soon, especially, you know, as we start going into the fall time in a couple of months and things pick up. I think that's going to be a good silver lining for some drivers out there.
Yeah. And, you know, we want to talk about this. We really do. We want to make a special segment, 10, 15 minutes every week, bring some of you on. What are your personal plan Bs? You teach us, we teach you. You know, I bet you most of you don't even know that you can, you know, save money towards your retirement with a lot of different retirement plans, right? 401ks, IRAs, SEP IRAs, things like that. We're all going to talk about this. And, you know, again, not financial advice, but you guys should do it because you are capable of doing it. Just because you're an independent contractor, 1099 contract worker, doesn't mean, you know, you cannot do it. You know, financial literacy is something we're going to try to attempt to talk about quite a, you know, at least once a week. And so please bring us your ideas, what you guys want to talk about. And hey, you know, I think it'll be a good segment.
Yeah, especially if you know your costs, which you should already. We've talked about that on figuring out your costs when it comes to what it takes for you to make money on a profitable ride, what it is, you know, per mile. So you can take a look at the ride offer coming in and see if it is going to be worth it for you or not to take. And then, you know, just being able to use that money for creating a plan B or what else you could potentially do. So it's definitely going to be hopefully educational, or at least it helps you be able to look at things in a little bit different of a light, to try to, you know, help with your financial situation. So instead of, you know, trying to have to worry about maybe a bill that needs to be paid, maybe the due date's coming up and you're not sure how much you're going to be able to put away for that. You know, hopefully that will, you know, kind of soften those types of things, some sort of nest egg or anything like that. Another reason why our sponsor, Mymo, is, you know, something that can be good because it has the financial planning help in there. So you can actually take a look at things and be a little bit more, you know, open about what you're currently making and, you know, your expenses, and you can see it broken down a little bit better, and have an honest conversation. It's not going to be a comfortable conversation for a lot of people, but it's something that all people should be having conversation with when it comes to themselves. We don't want to know your financial picture. We're not looking at that. We just want to help give you that information so you can have that conversation with yourself. And like I said, for some people, it's going to be a very hard conversation, but at the end of it, it's a good conversation to have with yourself, because at the other side, when you see what's going on, you can make those decisions that's going to help you be in a financial position that's going to be better than what it is today. And then,
okay,
you know,
don't ask me for stock tips, by the way. So, you know, tips are only at the horse races. They're not here. You know, I get that a lot. Oh, can you give me a tip? I'm like, no, we're not at the horse races. So I'm not going to do that because we're not allowed to do it. I would love to, but we can't. Even on a private email, I can't. But I really think something that we really need to talk about is retirement, because a lot of these gig workers, Chris, they're in their 50s, 60s. You know, the older crowd, the young crowd is doing it just to pay bills, whatever, survive, hustling. The older crowd is doing it, you know, and maybe they're, even if you're on, you know, Medicare, if you're retiring, if you're collecting Social Security, they're still doing it, just not to be bored at the house, but also They could do many, many different things, add to their, financial freedom and their future. So life is not over because you're 65. And a lot of people are doing it because, they're bored to do it. They're about to get on Social Security. And look, you need to save for your retirement. U.S. Social Security system is not going to be there. If you're 30 years old now, in 30 years, it ain't going to be there. It's going broke, just like everything else. Okay? Reality check. So to me, I think it's going to be a great segment, interactive. Please send me your ideas, what you guys want to talk about. I'll research it and we'll come up and talk about it.
Well, not only that, I want to go back to what you said. Well, the 20, 25-year-old may be doing this and just trying to pay bills. The problem is that's all they're doing. They're just trying to pay bills and they're not putting anything else away. Even 50, 60 years old, I mean, we don't know a person's financial picture, outlook, or anything like that, what they're doing. But if you're just doing this to pay your bills and you're not really making anything extra, that's where the conversation is going to be much harder for yourself to do, because you want to be able to have more, so you can put away a little bit more. And then again, if you're 20, 25, you shouldn't be just paying bills and that's it. You got to put away more, so then you have that retirement when it comes to that time. Otherwise, you're going to be working from the time that you're 20, 25 right now until you're dying. And that's not something that anybody wants. Everybody wants some sort of retirement, some sort of nest egg. And, there's definitely ways to do it, and doing it right, doing it differently. There's a lot of different ways. So that's going to be up to you, your financial plan, your financial picture, your financial goal, what you're doing now, what you're doing in the future, what you've been doing. There's a lot of different things there.
I agree. So yeah, look out for that segment halfway through the show, probably every week. And I think it's important. I think we need to be realistic and talk about it and work towards it.
All right. Yep. And to start that off, let's give away some money. Wow. So enter #pay
Easy
in the chat right now. Easy. And we're going to do our next segment and then we will draw the winner. So if you want to win some money, make sure you do that #pay, PAY.
Okay. Salam Abadi won the shirt. So email me on that one, the gig with it shirt that I'm wearing. It's not going to be the one I'm wearing. It's going to be the same thing.
I hope it's not the one you're wearing, and if it is, I hope you at least wash it before you send it out.
All right, #pay. Let's go, people. Free money, $25. All right, next one.
All right, let's get into this. Uber finding drivers.
Yeah, this was sent to me by a friend from Florida. This has not hit my screen yet, but
I haven't seen this either.
Yeah, this is real.
Hey, what happens in Florida tends to spread to the rest of the country. This is the same thing with the surge, and now they're talking about finding drivers for breaking a reservation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, there you go. Reserve. I like Uber reservations. They pay better than Uber X trips, on-demand trips anyway. So this is from his app. He was like hot and bothered with it. Vinny, if you're here, much love. If you're not here, I'm sure you'll catch it later. He sent it to me from Florida, and then he goes, "You'll need to be online an hour before the trip. It used to be 40 minutes, now it's an hour, unless it changed. New, I don't know. You'll always arrive on time, so we'll give you trips going towards your pickup spot. Reservation policy: be online at least an hour before pickup and to arrive on time." Okay, I got you, Uber. Here's the policy: please go online at least 1 hour before pickup, and if you need to cancel, do so at least 1 hour before pickup. So how is this going to work? Like, I go online 1 hour before pickup, but I have to cancel 1 hour before pickup? I'm not sure. I'm not even sure.
Well, I think it's more like if you accept it, and it's like 18 hours out, you can accept it, and then if something happens, you can go and cancel that particular one.
Yeah. And then it says, otherwise, you, not the passenger, you, the driver. This was my dream, Chris. One day we'll have to pay these apps to drive for them.
Well, this is starting.
This is it right here. So it says you will be charged a $10 reserve out of policy fee and lose access to reservations after 2 violations. So, meaning, if you booked a trip for yourself on a reserved trip for the next day, twice, if you cancel with less than an hour to go. Basically, you log on, and after that, you cannot cancel. If you cancel twice, they're going to charge you a $10 fee, and you're going to lose access to all reservations going forward. Like, bad boy, go to the corner kind of a thing. So
No, you're going to reservation jail, bro.
reservation for life. This is like a no parole.
Yeah.
This is no parole situation.
Well, what happens if every driver in that particular market goes into reservation jail? Are they going to start letting some people back out?
I don't know. Yeah, so we're going to pay Uber to do this now. And if the rider cancels less than an hour before, you'll receive a cancellation fee, unless you're estimated to arrive later than the pickup time you agreed to. See, they're playing this game now. Remember on the cancellation with Lyft? Oh, your arrival time was later than that. That's why you're not entitled to the cancellation fee. So on this one, because Uber sets a DF for you towards your pickup for an additional destination filter, I call it DF, for them to find hopefully possibly some trips going towards that direction. So you're getting paid. You're not dead miling to the pickup, which never happens, but let's say it does. So the passenger, well, now you have the hour thing, and the reserve out of policy fee will be deducted from your earnings after 2 violations. Okay, so you guys have one get out of jail free card. If you do it once, you're not going to get dinged by $10, but if you do it twice, you're going to not only get dinged $10, you're going to lose access to reservation policy altogether. And on this one, as you guys can see the boxes, you have to agree to this, click the box and submit. So I don't know if you submitted or not, but hey, so there we go. Now we got to pay. we got to pay.
Oh boy.
I'm like, I'm just not getting this. They're on a roll, buddy.
Oh yeah. So what do you think about that one? If you don't, I mean, I can understand like if there's issues. I'm wondering if that's the case. I want to give Uber the benefit of the doubt here when it comes to that. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, when it comes to reservation rides, there's always that issue of the time usually getting there, 20 minutes earlier or so, and then just sitting and waiting and all that. So, yeah, it's just, I just hope it's drivers aren't dinged for this. And I hope this isn't something that's going to continue spreading all over the place. So,
I don't know.
Florida, stop your shit.
Yeah, Florida, they're just hammering Florida with the fake surge. Now no more dollar signs on the surge, gray cloud. Oh, this Florida's getting it every which way possible. So that's okay.
Man, it's a hurricane down there, a hurricane from Uber. Oh. Yeah. All right, so let's go to our giveaway, #pay, because you got to pay if you're not on within an hour and going to that destination where you want to pick up your rider. So it's pay to play now, pay to play. So let's get a winner who can get some money at least.
I just because so 2.5 cancellation fees right there.
Yeah, but WeZoom, congratulations, WeZoom.
WeZoom. Email me WeZoom, $25 coming your way.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. All right. Yeah, let's go. So what else we got?
All right. So we want to talk about a driver who is, using their head, being smart. And, I was reading through the email that you sent me, which we're going to go over in just a minute. And I started reading this and I'm like, this is something that you got to pay attention to all the time. And this is something that I've paid attention to and happened to me as well. Yeah. So I'll share my story after this email of what had happened. But yeah, it's something where you just will always want to be paying attention to your surroundings, what's going on. Let me take this banner off because we're not doing #pay anymore.
Yeah. Next one coming up though. This is good old Joe. His video is up, doing really nicely about time and mileage shaving from Chicago. You want to read this one, bud?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So it says, one more safety issue I got for drivers to be made aware of. We really need to be aware of what's going on around us. Absolutely. A head on a swivel and just take note of what's going on and what's around. I had a Lyft pickup for a female passenger. As I got to the restaurant, she was on the sidewalk talking to a guy who walked off as she got in. I didn't clock it at first, but there was a BMW SUV in front of me with his blinkers on. So, yeah, I mean, he did notice it. That's why he put it in the email. But anyway, she gets in, pull a U-turn because she was going in the other direction. It's a lovely night. We're driving with the windows down. And about a minute into the trip, the BMW pulls up next to you, or next to the driver, at the light and calls out to her by name, asking if she's all right. She responds to the guy, she's fine, and he pulls away. It was weird, but he knew her name, so I assumed he was a friend or someone she knew and had been at dinner with her. On the way to the expressway, I noticed that we jock-eyed positions. Sometimes I was in front, other times he was. Didn't think much of it because it was the only way to the closest on-ramp. Finally, I realized something weird was going on after getting on the expressway, and he stayed right behind me the whole way. I was going the speed limit while everyone else was speeding. As I pull onto the exit ramp near her destination, he again follows. At this point, I ask her if she knows the guy or if he knows where she lives. She says no to both. So red flag. He noticed that and talked to the passenger, communicated. A smart move there when it comes to what's going on, letting them know. And then I immediately start thinking about what I need to do to get away from him. Unfortunately, I hit a red light and there were people in the crosswalk. I see him get out of the car and think something bad is going to happen. The only thing I could think of was putting the car in reverse and getting ready to hit him. Fortunately, all he does is hand her a piece of paper through the window. I guess creep just wanted to give the number. Definitely very creepy when it comes to it. Before he got back to his car, the light changed and I took off as fast as the Prius could go. Made a few quick turns to get out of the line of sight and lose him. When I realized I lost him, I continued to her destination and talked to her briefly. She was shaken, creeped out by the whole thing. She said she thinks the guy was listening to her for the argument that they were having with her boyfriend. The guy who walked away when the person went to pick her up was the boyfriend. So he must have heard the name, offered to wait for her to get inside. She said yes, thank you, and wished her well and hurried toward the door. And thought I could be a suspect if something happens to her. So he pulled a U-turn so the dash cam, the display ride dash cam, could record her safely getting into her house. The next day, saved all the dash cam footage for when they picked her up to when they got home at the end of the night, thinking of an alibi, and also combed through the footage of the ride itself. Got a screenshot of the guy's license plate just in case. As drivers, we're not only having to worry about traffic, dangerous passengers, Uber and Lyft shaving our fares, but now complete weirdos following our passengers. And that is absolutely true. You need to pay attention to that stuff. So my story was where I went to a bad part of the town, east side of Buffalo, probably about 1, 2 at night. Areas where it's really known for drug trafficking, drug deals and stuff like that. And so I went to go pick somebody up there, and there was a car that was sitting up front, and then that car started following me after I was leaving. How I noticed what was going on, there was a red light, and I said, hey, look, it looks like there's a car following us, and went through the red light. So they knew what was going on, and that car continued to follow us all the way through. We were going to the casino nearby, so we continued on, but hit a red light, and the car, there was somebody that came out up to the side. This was in my blind spot, so I didn't see that. This was what I looked at when I was looking at the dash cam footage. But yeah, guy came up to the side, looked into the person who was sitting in the passenger seat, and then realized whoever it was wasn't them, and then got back in the car and took off. Unfortunately, I didn't have a 3-channel dash camera at that time, only 2 channels. So that was the interior and exterior facing in the front. But that's a good thing for a 3rd channel, just saying, so if you get the license plate or something like that happens, like this particular driver had, he was able to comb through because that particular person went in front of them. So yeah, it's just something that you always want to pay attention to, no matter where you are. Just take note of what's going on, especially when it comes to something like that. So smart driver right there when it came to seeing what was going on, noticing that there was a BMW, then that BMW was following them. Very creepy position, and everything that was going on. So hopefully that girl is okay and not weirded out, but good job for the driver doing that.
Yeah,
Paying attention.
that's our Joe. And He has a display ride, and this is the time to talk a little bit about dash cams. I'm telling you, if you don't have a dash cam, you should not be ride sharing. Seriously, I don't care if you're driving in Beverly Hills every single day. Nor Jeff, come on, Jeff. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. You know, on that one we didn't make
Appreciate it, Jeff.
my gig with it hat and shirt yesterday. Great quality. Your, I'll give you the autograph in person. Many great topics to some free advice channel. Okay, I agree. You know, Jeff is a good mentor to the show and to me. You know, on certain things we disagree, but you know, what is life without disagreement? So
Yep.
seriously, like you guys, if you're doing rideshare without a dash cam, you're a fool. Okay, there you go. That's my piece. I don't know what else to
Yeah,
say.
no, I mean, no matter what, you need a dash camera. I mean, beyond just rideshare, beyond food delivery, you should have a dash cam that's on and running, you know, all the time, especially in the event of accidents. You know, people hit and runs, you hear about that. You know, fraud, insurance fraud. That's more a bigger thing in other countries than the US.
Yeah,
You know, places like Russia where people make it look like you hit them and then take like video of it and stuff like that to make it look like you hit them, but in fact you really didn't.
yeah,
If you have a dash cam rolling, you know, it kind of alleviates all of that stuff because you have the proof that they're coming out trying to commit fraud. So there's a lot of different reasons why you should have a dash camera, not just rideshare or
yeah,
anything like that.
yeah,
Obviously, display ride is great for many different reasons, including having cloud backup and all that stuff. So in the event something happens, an accident, and you know it gets flung from the car or damaged, if somebody tries grabbing the dash camera, throwing it out the window or anything like that, you're going to have all of that footage. And people who are doing that, too bad, so sad, they're caught on video. That's obviously the biggest thing. And then there's several other reasons. But yeah, one of the big things too, if you want a dash camera and you want the display ride, it's $25 a month normally, but with RSG 20, you can get it down to $20 a month. So you're going to save 20% off. And that's also tax deductible because it is a business expense. So make sure you save those receipts. And it's just peace of mind. You know, it's quality. You're getting a camera for free. You're getting the service. You're getting all the upload. You know, that's over LTE network, 4G LTE. So all of that data, it's not going through your cell phone. It's going through display ride. You're essentially getting a phone number for your camera. So all of that data goes through that particular number. It's not tied. So, you know, all of that's included within that $20 a month. So it's definitely great to have.
yeah. And lastly, on display ride, as far as service is concerned, seriously, their support is amazing. In fact, I had a driver who got one in LA. And in LA, as we know, they parked their car outside and it was like 110 degrees in the car before they even got in the car. And you know the sticky part didn't hold on the window for some reason, and they immediately got them extra adhesive tape. They got them an extra bracket, so they're really amazing in getting back to you guys. But yeah, please get a display ride or get a dash cam. I'm seriously, but preferably this $20 is well spent. Couple of questions. Can you buy a shirt? Yeah, it's in the show notes. The link is in the show notes. Use Sergio for 15% off. Yes, I have, Tony. In fact, it's in LA. If you do a certain amount of trips, you get a boost level. You know, I think a driver that I saw got up to 150% boost level 2 or level 3. I think, you know, look, Lyft is doing a lot of decent things. Seriously, they are. And, you know, there were a lot of news that broke yesterday and today. In fact, I had to argue with a journalist today about some boneheaded article that they wrote saying that, you know, the headline, I'll give you the headline, Chris. Passengers are getting lower fares because David Risher laid off 1,000 people. I'm like, boo hoo, boo hoo. Yeah, the guy's doing the right thing. What do you want? He's cutting heads. He's trying to make the company profitable, get out of the hole that he's in.
Well, here's the thing. Again, how hard does rideshare have to be? You make sure the app works. You pick you pick the passenger up. You drop the passenger off. You make sure that the rider is getting to where they need to go. The apps are working on both ends, and you collect the money from that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So anyway, but
You don't have to put in all these games that Uber likes to play. Oh, we got to have like 2,000 different tests running all at the same time.
Look at Jeff timing. How good is this guy's timing, bro?
Well,
Oh, wow. Speaking of the devil.
well, I mean, I guess that's the perfect segue into our next topic.
Yeah. And believe
Oops.
me, Jeff does not know our lineup. So so boom, there's a competitor to Uber and Lyft. They launched in Florida again. Yeah. What is the deal with Florida, bro?
I don't know.
They get the good, they get the bad, they get the new, they get the old, they all get it first. I don't know.
I think maybe just the cost of entry is a little bit easier there, or there's less sticky tape that they have to cut when it comes down to it.
Hey, you know what?
There's
That
a lot
maybe
of
is.
things.
They have a corporate friendly culture down there. So InDrive is the new company, rideshare company that
It's
launched in
Russian.
Miami. This company, by the way, is doing really well globally. Its founder is a Russian gentleman. They're all in like Kazakhstan and Middle East, and they're in a lot of different countries. And they have a very, very, very interesting system, completely unorthodox when it comes to the US, for sure, right? And it's first of its kind. And Adam Warner, who is the head of US operations, is going to be our guest on the 15th of August, unless David Richard decides to come on the 15th of August. So,
Sorry,
but
then you're getting booted.
yeah, there you go. Sorry, Adam. But but we're gonna try to have work it out with you guys. So Adam Warner is gonna be on the 15th. He's booked. He's gonna tell us all about it. But I'm gonna talk to you guys a couple of minutes about this company. Now, this company, the way they do things is they allow the driver bid on the trip. So let's give this example. Let's say I'm sitting in my house. I want to go 10 miles out. It's going to take me 20 minutes, right? And then, I log onto the app as a passenger. Okay. It shows me all the bids that the drivers are putting in to the system. Like one driver may put in $20, one driver may put in 25, one driver may put in 30. I don't know, whatever you want to put in. It's your call. There is no rate card. There is no upfront algorithm. There is no gamification. You're on your own boss. If you bid too high, you're not going to get the trip. Now, the only concern with this is when Uber did this, during AB5 times, Chris, it was like Hunger Games. Everybody would underbid each other, and ultimately somebody would end up doing the trip. Hopefully, it's not going to be like this, right? And they want to look. This company is well funded. It's better funded than any other rideshare company that has showed up in the U.S. So they have tons of money, okay? And they're going to expand in the U.S. Now, I have questions for Adam Warner, which I'm going to save, or maybe I'll tell him now. Is this company, does it have a TNC license? Does it offer period 3 insurance? Because the drivers are bidding for the trips. It's not like the company is an agent and they're putting me and the passenger together, right? Now, and the passenger has a choice to accept or decline trips, okay? Like the price, obviously they're going to choose to get picked up fastest and for the cheapest way. It's almost like a auction system that's going on. Don't worry, the company says that the average ordering a trip takes anywhere between 30 to 45 seconds. So it's not like this constant give and take. An hour later, you're still haggling with your driver. It's not like that at all. Okay. Now, questions remain, right? Because what we know with the competition in the rideshare business is difficult. It really is difficult. But these people are well funded and they want to grow in the US with this new system. And for 1 year, they usually take 10% commission from drivers, Chris. Usually, that's their way of making money. But for 1 year, during the sign up, they're going to allow the drivers to keep everything that they make. Okay, 100% of the fares. So this kind of is like a rides, or rides version, like where the driver keeps the whole fare, right? Mm-hmm. But not only that, but now you can bid for the trip. Like you can literally call your own price now, right? So you can say, okay, I'm going to do a 10-mile half-hour trip. I want $25, and you keep the 25. It's all on you, obviously. Just your car is, you're an independent contractor. You're naming your price. So this looks like more like the independent contractor model that I'm thinking of, right? But again, we're going to talk to Adam Warner without too much talking about it. All these companies' problem is not getting the drivers, because drivers' discontent or dissatisfaction is so high with the rideshare companies that they should be getting all the drivers that they can, probably. It's how you
Well,
market to
not
the
only that,
passenger.
if you have a third person come into town and you just do rideshare, or even if you're doing rideshare and food delivery, you're going to sign up for another app just because you can position yourself to get more rides
Yeah.
or to get more payment. So, I mean, yeah, it just makes sense that more are just going to sign up naturally.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's a very interesting system. Is it for the US? I don't know. We'll have Adam Warner explain that. I'll ask him those questions. Do people in this day and age have enough patience to go back and forth for 30 seconds with the drivers in the area, to get the best deal for themselves? So ultimately, it's going to be this bidding system back and forth for about 30 to 45 seconds, according to InDrive. It's not going to take this, but then around the world, they're growing like wildfire. People are taking to it. Customers are happier about it. Drivers are happier about it, making more money. So we're going to find out. We're going to in a couple of weeks. But if you're in Florida, go sign up. Give me a heads up. Let me see what this thing is like. Are you making money? How's the bidding system working? We'll find out. They're doing great around the globe. I mean, seriously, Africa, Middle East, Asia, they're doing amazing. They're really growing. So we'll see. Hey, maybe this is it. This is the answer to Uber and Lyft.
all right. Well, that'd be cool. I'd love to have a third big competitor around.
Yeah, Mike Smith. Okay, no, Jeff, you're in Florida. Mike, you're in Florida. I know a bunch of people are in Florida in the chat. Go sign up. Test the waters and let me know as a driver, which I care about. I mean, I'm sure Adam is going to come on and do the whole spiel and whatever. But find the good, find the pros, find the cons, and keep us posted. So.
Yep. Love to know.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do another giveaway.
All right.
Enter hashtag SMTMC. You know it. You love it. So enter hashtag SMTMC for your chance to win $25.
Let's go. Free money.
All right. So we've got a couple of tweets from Sergio going on.
All right. So for all of you who say, "Oh, we don't do anything, this and that," I'm telling you this. Here's the deal. These are my tweets from this past week, actually weekend. And Chris knows this, but then remember the shaving that happened, $40 surge, but then the guy got it for 35. We even talked about this negative base fare trips, right?
Yep, last week.
There goes the blast to Twitter land. Here are the screenshots. Followed up with the driver. He was denied the fare adjustment. We will put up the Uber support answer next week, which we did today. They said that it had to be surging the same on rideshare and delivery for you to get extra surge, which I had never heard of before. Neither has Chris. So Uber support next week on SMTMC live stream podcast. Who is it directed to? Who is it directed to, people? Look at it. FTC and Lena Khan, the chair of FTC. Okay? So I'm telling you, I ain't just gonna go sit here because this is irritating me now. And then another tweet is upfront fares algo is raging, manipulating base fares to shave surge, boost quest, dollar EV promos, negative base rates are here. Are tips now being rolled into the upfront fare, which was the subject we talked about, did a video, got 20,000 views in a day or some crazy number. And there goes Lena Khan again, FTC, and on the bottom of it, you guys see where my tag is to the FTC itself. So I'm trying. So what I want you guys to do is, get a social media Twitter account, blast it, copy and paste this exact same thing. You don't even have to be creative. Copy and paste or retweet this with those tags. Because look, this has gone too far. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So I'm trying to wake them up. I know FTC is like a 1,000-pound gorilla that doesn't move too fast. But hey, I'm doing it. Nobody's going to stop me from doing it. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if there's anything coming from that.
I'll keep doing it.
But let's go on. We talked about this topic a little bit. I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks ago or something. At this point, this is the electric flying car.
No, this is a new one. This is a new one.
Oh, this is a new one. Oh, okay.
This is a new one.
We initially thought about it or talked about a different one.
I wouldn't put the same thing up. You know that. This is a new one. Look at this gizmo, bro. Can you see? Okay, on the left screenshot, can you guys see it? The wings and shit. But from the top-down view, do you guys see all those motors? All the motors.
Yeah, it's like it's a quad,
right?
It's a quadcopter. Quadcopter.
You like this one, Chris?
Hey, it's just a big giant version of my drone.
with a human in it. And then on the
Yeah.
video, we can play the video, but the CEO of the company actually made this hover in a garage or in a um, like a airplane hangar. Okay, so Doroni now airspace 195,000 Doroni H1 flying electric car has made its first manned flight. The CEO was flying that one on that one. Here's what we know. Although the Doroni H1 is positioned as a car, can you imagine seeing one of these things behind you on the freeway? It looks like a
Here's the thing. I would like it to look like a normal car on the actual road itself. So if it's coming up or behind, or if I'm coming up to it or it's behind me or something, I look and it's like, oh, that's cool. There's one of those cars behind me, and then all of a sudden it just takes off and lifts up and just flies away.
Yeah. So this thing hovers, and then it says the pilot was Doron Merdinger, which comes, I guess, Doroni comes from his first name, Doron, or Doro, founder and CEO of Doroni Aerospace. The the test took place in a hangar. Okay, I was right on that one. The H1 climbed to a low altitude, made several maneuvers, and successfully made a soft landing. The flying electric vehicle can reach speeds of up to 225 kilometers, which is about 160 miles, and has a range of 100 kilometers, which is about 80
60
miles,
miles.
75 miles, something in that range. The H1 is a light sport aircraft according to the Federal Aviation Administration classification, which means it does not require, look, Chris, you can do this. It doesn't require a pilot's license, buddy. I need you to get one of these and see what happens.
Well, first of all, Doroni, if you're watching, why don't you send a prototype to me? I will gladly try it out. I'll try it out. I don't have to keep it. I just want to try it out and see. I will take the 15-hour course. That's fine with me. But here's the thing: when it comes, I'm going to tell you this: when drones first hit the market, there was a frenzy of what was going on because it was in airspace. Yeah. And the FAA has many different designations for airspace, whether it's class A, B, C, D, E, G, whatever airspace it is. So there's a lot of different airspaces around, and drones can fly up to 400 feet above the ground level. So not above MSL, which is sea level, but above ground level. Or if you're within 400 feet of a building or a mountain or a structure, you can go 400 feet above that. So, a close building that could be like, let's say 500 feet, you can fly 900 feet if you're within 400 feet of that building. So there's designation, and that's in drones. When it comes to, commercial airlines, you're flying at 18,000 feet or higher unless you are in, one of the airspace rings around an airport. Now, when it comes to these flying cars and when it comes to drones that are going to be delivery drones, they're going to have to come up with these whole classifications what altitude they're allowed in, how they're going to be able to drive and fly around. So right now they're saying, oh, yes, it only needs a 15-hour course. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, there's going to be a lot more regulation that's going to have to come into play here. So it might sound really nice to begin with, but when it comes down to it, they're going to have a huge regulation. And unless it's something where you can punch in the coordinates where it's going to go and take off and do its own thing, the driver is going to have to get some sort of license for it, for sure.
I agree with you 100%, because I don't think this should be human driven, especially the flying part. It should be all automatic, autopilot, some sort of shit. Because look, all I want to do, okay, so I'm on the 405, stuck going to LAX. If whoever's in LA, you know this. At 6 a.m., the damn thing is a parking lot. It takes me 2.5 hours to get 30 miles, okay? So all I want to do, I know where the traffic always bundles up. There's a bottleneck on the freeway. So all I want to do is take off, go past 1.5 miles and land, and then keep going. That's it. That's all I want to use this thing for. I don't want to fly. I don't want to do any of this stuff. But if this can do that, I'm in line. I take it. It looks very cool though, from the top down. Look.
Oh yeah.
With the motor.
I mean, really that would be cool. I love flying my drone around. I'd love to be able to take one of these things and fly myself around. That'd be awesome. But the problem, I mean, again, the problem is is that it's so unregulated at this point that the FAA would have just like Part 107 is for UAS, which is drone flying. They and then you also have hobbyist drones, which is a whole nother category when it comes down to the rules, regulations, and all that. So there's a lot to it, and this you're adding a person into it, and then you're not just adding yourself into it, but what about all the other possible flying cars that are going on around? What about all the possible flying drones that are delivery drones, that are recreational drones, that are different drones, Part 107 clearance drones, and then also other flight like this one is a light sport aircraft, where you don't need that. There are other light sport aircrafts that are around. Then you have other aircrafts on top of that. So, this is a big thing that they're going to have to maneuver around. So it might seem right now, yes, you only need a 15-hour course, but as these come out, I will guarantee you the FAA will redo everything when it comes to these types of vehicles and what's allowed, what's not allowed. But like I said, if you want to keep it as a very easy thing, I think the easiest thing would be something like punching in coordinates, and it would then, remote ID is something that's coming for drones in September, I think September, October at this point right now, probably going to be pushed out, who knows. But either way, remote ID basically is something that transmits the location of the drone and the pilot to the FAA and other areas that are, trying to look into it. So law enforcement stuff. So this, I could see something where they could use something like that and use the coordinates by punching it in, and then the car itself would just take off, fly where it's going, and then drop.
Look at all these geniuses on the chat, bro. I don't know. What do I know? Ask Mr. Doroni. I'll make sure I'll have him on the show as well, like InDrive.
I don't know. Honestly, here's my question. And this is for chat too, besides Sergio. Would you take this, or would you fly in one of these? Would you get one of these if you had the actual ability to, or maybe they're like, hey, we like the show, here's one.
Yeah.
Would you?
Not at this moment. No, thank you.
I would.
No, not until a couple of knuckleheads have died in this. Maybe after that.
Well, as long as they got an ejectocito, I'm okay.
Oh, okay.
Just go. I'd be okay with that. But I mean, just in the last few years, what drones themselves were compared to what they are now, I mean, they're so much different. Even like I have the Mini 3 Pro, and that has so much functionality built into it where you can actually just press a couple of buttons and it will fly itself around doing its own thing. So I don't see this being that much different from doing something like that. But imagine doing this imagine doing this in for rideshare. Hey, we're gonna pick you up. Hey, all of a sudden you look at it and they're like, oh, stuck in traffic, and then you just take off, go there, and then land. They're like, holy shit.
Look at all this abuse Mr. Doroni is getting, bro. Look at all this abuse Mr. Doroni is getting. I'm like, hey man, it's out of the control now. I think between the autonomous vehicles, flying cars, it's out of control now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the AVs, I don't like them. I don't think they're like I say, we'll unicorn them and just stop them. Just throw a cone on them, you're good to go. Actually, funny story. I have 4 cones coming tomorrow.
Yeah, you're
not for that purpose, but
you're a drone specialist. But so we'll see. We'll try to get this guy on too. We had one last week, I think 2 weeks ago, and we had one now. They're competing. They're getting orders, by the way. It's per order. You can get on their website and order one for $150 or something. I'm like, hey, go for it.
Oh, I like Mike's comment. Not for rideshare, but imagine for private rides. Imagine the rates you could charge then.
Well,
yeah, but here's the thing. If you're right now, if you're only getting 60 miles though on a good charge, and that's test charging, or that's test flights. That's not going to be real world. Like some of these drone, what is it? The Air 3 that just came out today. I think it's advertised at 42 minutes for flight time. The reality of it is you're probably going to get, at best 90%. So, if you get 60 miles, you're probably going to get at best, 90%, and that's at best. That's not if you're acting crazy and trying to go full throttle or something like that. So yeah, it might not be as good as you think it could be.
Thank you, Sally. Much appreciated. We're doing a lot. We really are. We only say it when it's finalized, but we don't all have to agree on what we're trying to do, but we're always looking out for the driver. So thank you. Much love. All right. Let's. I had to put this, Chris. Okay. So we put this Uber loop a few months ago, maybe 3 months ago, but it was not in spray format. Now it's
no. That was Uber Lube, but the thing is, they said, you know what, it costs too much, so we're just going to dry dog it.
Yeah. Oh, that's what's happening with those negative base fares. I got you.
Yep.
And okay, this to my wife's opposition, but my son's full approval. Guess who this little guy is on the right, who's 14 now, is 5'5". That's my son.
Your
Aiden.
little one.
That's my son, Aiden. And that's him. I wish I could get those bays back with his freaking afro. Look at that hair, bro. And that is his finger, by the way. So just like Daddy, apple don't fall far from the tree.
Oh, don't worry. My daughter's 5 and doing that sometimes.
Yeah. This is Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all of you guys right there. That's my son flipping you off. Okay, here you go. Have a nice day. I had to put this one up. And then, Uber Lube is in spray form. Please go get it now. And next one is the money. Let's give him some money.
Yep. So we're going to give away the money. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull up that screen. All right. Those who luckily entered hashtag SMTMC into the chat, congratulations. You have a chance at winning right now, $25. Let's see who is our winner. Dun, 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 dun. They need to put some sort of music in this just to do it. Tio, congratulations. You are the winner. Good job.
Okay, Mateo Fernando, email me. Otherwise, no money.
And you want that money?
Steven, you were just under the wire, buddy. This is what happens when you don't log on. So we're done, right?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay, so homework for all of you. Please email me your ideas. What do you guys want to talk about when it comes to your finances, your retirement, your extra cash you're putting on the side, plan B, whatever you guys want to talk about. We're going to do a segment about that. We're going to talk about true financial freedom for you guys. And we're going to try to, not financial advice, but talk about it, guide you guys, read the law, explain it, what your rights are as independent contractors. Email Sergio@therideshareguy.com, and then we will start that segment next week.
All right. With that said, everybody have a great week. We will see you guys next week. Don't forget, tomorrow is Money Hungry with Kim and Zach for food delivery drivers, last mile and all that good stuff. And we'll see you